Hi guys, and welcome to this live show, of course. And we are gathered here today to purge the heretics that want to get into Warhammer 40K and destroy it for what it is and to make it into something totally different. So if that is not bigotry, I don't know what it is, but we are going to take a look, of course. It is a marvelous, just marvelous, not idiotic at all article. And I want to say huge thank you to Chainsword over on Twitter for making this article be noticed by many people, because actually this is from 2022. But unfortunately, it kind of had predicted what we are going to be up against for real in 2024. So that's the unfortunate part. I have already recorded a good audio of the article, the most important parts of the article, so we can take a look at it and just kill it with fire, as we should. Okay, so without further ado, let's hear this.
The process by which space marines are created relies inherently on the hormonal and biological makeup of the human male, meaning that only males can be subjected to the transformation. You can find this in the new Horus Heresy rulebook. The hormonal and biological makeup of the human male sounds innocuous if you are not aware of the process that's going on to alienate people from their trans friends, family, co-workers, and neighbors. If you do not know enough about this miserable debate to know the words used to imply hate rather than state it outright. To someone who does, this sentence is viciously coded. Let's get the science out of the way. There is no specific hormonal or biological makeup of a human male. Sex is basically a pair of giant buckets of characteristics we lump people into. There is no single specific indicator of sex. There are hundreds, and almost every human who has ever existed is a jumbled mix of them. If you have enough traits of one kind, we crudely decide you are male. Enough of another, and we go for female. Not enough of either for us to make a snap judgment on little evidence? Well, those people are intersex and they get fixed. Do these traits have significance? Of course, some of them. Particularly medically, many of these hundreds of traits can be very important. The big buckets we've invented to crudely dump people into? Much less important. So this statement is nonsense on the face of it. But this is fiction. You might be saying, it doesn't matter. And that's fine, I guess. But as an author, I still take care with what I write, and I still use the real world as a baseline to refer to. I wouldn't write a book where there's no gravity, but instead blavity that does sort of the same thing but is sticky, like a jam, and just write that as if it was sane and not explain the difference. Fiction, especially genre fiction, often deviates from the real world considerably, but those deviations are of interest. This isn't being called out as a deviation from reality. It's being stated like understood truth.
So yeah, guys, this is from Goonhammer. And it is nonsense, of course. Science, yeah, no science here. I mean, that is literally going against science that generations of people all over the world have studied already. We know what a man is, we know what a woman is. I'm just, yeah, besides myself about this. So we have more. We are like half in, but I wanted to, address some of the things that he already said. So the process by which space marines are created relies inherently on the hormonal and biological makeup of the human male, meaning that only males can be subjected to the transformation. Yes, that is how it is in the lore. If you don't like it, Mr. Bigot, like the real bigot, just go away, find something else. You know? You are literally sexist towards your own freaking, well, gender. What are you saying here? These people, they don't know how to be objective, how to be genuine. They just know how to attack and then accuse whoever they're attacking of the same thing that they're doing. So basically, you are the sexist, you are the one that is bigoted, you are the one that wants to forcefully remove other people, other types of people from, in this case, Warhammer 40K. So you can put other types of people that did not originally belong there, because it does not make any sense for a universe in the future to have these problems at all. So Warhammer is a universe where people die constantly in horrible ways. Nobody has time to even comprehend these things. And by the time that this is happening, 40,000 years in the future, they have no concept of this issue because literally nobody can afford to have even these problems. And even if somebody is to feel this way, because this is obviously a medical condition called gender dysphoria, even if someone is dealing with that, they will probably face the grim darkness of the far future and not be able to go to the other gender. They will probably not have the means, they will probably not have the time, they will probably be killed before that, starved to death, salvaged for their organs. Who knows what? Who knows what, really? The point is that this is just so different from our real world that it's absolutely absurd to think about such things at all. And once again, if any person, no matter if you are straight, gay, trans, or whatever, if you are secure in yourself, if you really appreciate yourself, if you have some kind of a self-esteem, self-respect, all of that, and if you are a decent human being that actually does not lack empathy towards other people and other creatures, you will be able to like someone that is not exactly like you. Any sane person that ever liked anything that does not reflect themselves directly, they are able to actually like stuff and be fans of different things. How we are fans of anything then? I mean, why am I a fan of some artists that are obviously not a white girl from Bulgaria? How the heck am I a fan of people that just don't look like me at all? I don't care if they look like me. I don't care if they're whatever orientation they are. As long as this orientation is not opposed on other people in this forceful manner. This is a forceful written article by every sense of the word. To use words like this, to weaponize words like this, to say things that are literally scientifically untrue. You have the audacity to do this, and you have the audacity to go to already established lore, established, of course, people on the other side are going to say, oh, Gary, but the lore of 40K changes all the time. Yeah, of course, certain things are changed, but most of the time it's about adding stuff to the lore and not removing things. Sometimes it's kind of like that, like with the latest Horus Heresy books, and what happened between the Emperor and Horus was not what we imagined. But before that was not also set in stone what exactly happened between them, not exactly set in stone. So there's some things that are just floating in the air, and GW eventually answer, so to speak, fill in the gaps with some storylines. That is normal, but to go now when we had space marines being men for years upon years, that image is burned within every one of us that those guys are guys. And they're one of the manliest guys ever. Do I need to remind you that they're one of the manliest guys ever? And that is good. That is great because it's their abilities, what they are. The gene seed, what the gene seed is making them to be, that is what enables them to protect our galaxy, humanity, to pursue us, sometimes unfairly, sometimes fairly, to just do what the emperor intended, so to speak. That is who they are. And if you want to tell us that you do not like men because you like to put other people there, because you don't think that men should be there, that is crazy. That is absolutely disgusting. I mean, like we always say for other IPs as well, make your own characters, make your own universes. Do that. Do that. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's stopping you. But do not accuse other people of being bigoted when you go and enter somebody else's world, so to speak, and try to freaking change the fundamentals of this world. I would say that something like the Space Marines being male is a fundamental thing. It's a base that we have, and it's important. And it's very important, of course, if Sisters of Battle are also what they are. And they're unique and they complete each other, so to speak. Sisters of Battle fighting side by side with the Space Marines. That is one of the most badass, cool things ever. And it's so beautiful because they're supporting each other. They're going to die for one another. They're warriors in their own right. They have their own qualities, their own abilities. They're contributing to the Imperium. They're contributing to the Emperor. And just to the whole lore and how unique it is. And because we have Space Marines, that is what it got me into Warhammer 40K when I first saw the Astartes project and I saw how Space Marines were depicted with the most badass type of animation I ever seen thus far. It was so fluid, it was so amazing how decisive they were in every movement, how they, went on the ship, marched until they went to the ship, they got shot at, but then they went to those very cool looking guys with, the, yeah, the metal faces, I don't know how else to say it, and they just ripped out their freaking spines, and it was just so amazing, so amazing. So that is why I got into 40k, for those men, because they're awesome. They're awesome. So if you are a girl that is also a geeky girl like me, if you are a guy that's also geeky and all of that, you will be able to appreciate anything that is well written, that is interesting to you, and everyone has the right to have taste, particular, preferences. I'm just so besides myself about it. And nobody can tell us, do not like this or change it, because some other group needs to be included. That some other group, if they really respect themselves and they're comfortable in their own skin, they would like then something else, because they would not be so horse with blitz, so to speak. They would be able to like anything else. And of course, they could create some stories with characters that reflect them, but that was never, ever, ever the case before, when we used to be, normal without these DEI politics. Every little girl or boy was able to identify themselves not with the characters, particularly their age, whether that be, a male, female, whatever. They were able to identify or be inspired to have certain qualities of the characters that they want to have. Now, the Space Marines, some of them are really noble, some of them, of course, are not. There's so many different Space Marines, but the whole idea of a Space Marine is just extremely cool. And there's no exact equivalent in other universes. They're super soldiers, but there's no exact equivalent of a Space Marine with the huge big ass armor and all of that entails. All the things that they get injected to survive, all the wound healing that's faster. Some of them eat flesh and whatever. And some of them can become primaris. That's another story. Yeah, get renewed. Another topic. But there's so many things that are unique about the Space Marines. So to be like, oh no, they should be. Doesn't matter what is a man, what is a woman. It says here, you can find this in the new Horus Heresy book. The hormonal and biological makeup of the human male sounds innoxious or whatever if you're not aware of the process that's going on to alienate people from their trans friends, family, co-workers, and neighbors. No, like I've said, take Blair White for example. She is a trans person, one of the most famous trans persons ever, and she's always says it like it is. She never supports stupidity like this. If she's a geek, she will like this. And she'll be like, oh, cool, Space Marines. There's not gonna be a single thought in her mind, oh, I don't like them as they are. They're filthy men. So I'm going to make them trans men. So I can identify then. Like what? She's identifying already with being a woman. She is attracted to men. So for her, should not be any problem to like men and, say to cool women, hey, cool women. And to men, hey, cool men. Is that not the most genuine thing that you can do? And he continues, if you do not know enough about this miserable debate to know the words used to imply hate rather than state it outright, Nonsense. There was trans people even in the 90s, and there were some even very famous trans people as well. So that is absolute nonsense. And let's not mention, and I has have mentioned this before, how many singers have been gay and people accepted them and loved their music and respected them. Sir Elton John was even knighted and nobody was like, hey, you're gay. You're gay. Who is gay? You are gay. That's something else from. That's. I have to use a clip of that. It's an interview in an African country. It's just so funny. But yeah, so I just thought of that. I'm sorry, it's just so funny. But yeah, it's funny how, especially when you see people from other countries that are not that familiar with these things, that the way that we are, how they genuinely react and genuinely want to know, and they just ask questions about these things. And it's just amazing to watch. He continues, to someone who does, the sentence is viciously coded. Absolute nonsense. Let's get the science out of the way. So just gonna focus on that. I'm gonna check your comments, guys, just a second. Oh yeah. Okay. 30 plus years of them being men. Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, really, guys, I'm gonna check your comments just to finish with the main part of the article. So, science, these people have the audacity to say that this is science, what I'm about to read. There's no specific hormonal or biological makeup of a human male. What did you say here? What did you say? There's no specific biological makeup for a human male. Are you kidding me? Sex is basically a pair of giant buckets of characteristic we lump people into. No, it's a biological fact. Look down your pants if you haven't cut anything out from there yet. Look there. It's very, very different from the female parts. There's no single specific indicator of sex. What? There's a ton, thank you very much. There are hundreds, and almost every human who has ever existed is a jumbled mix of them. There is no single specific indicator of sex. There are hundreds. What? And almost every human. Okay. So there are no one specific, but there are hundreds. Okay, amazing. We have a ton more proof that we are men and women. Great. And if you feel that you're not a man, but you are born in a woman, I mean, if you're born in a woman's body or in a male's body, but you feel the other gender, that's called transphobia, and it is diagnosed. And if you're sure of that, and if you are of age, you can consent to this with your full sound heart and mind, and you have the money for it, depending on what country you live in, you can go ahead and do the transformation and feel yourself. That is fine. But to go and, oppose what you want for your personal life on someone else, just to like oppose it, it's like I'm gonna knock on my neighbor's door and be like, hey, I like men, you know? And you gotta accept it. You gotta accept it. And he's gonna be like, police. you know? That's how it's going to look like. Even if I'm talking about that I'm straight, this is still gonna be crazy and inadequate behavior. Do these traits have significance? Oh, I think I missed something. Okay, if you have enough traits of one kind, we crudely decide you are male. Crudely. Are you dumb? Did you ever went to a doctor? Do you know that doctors, especially surgeons, they have to actually operate on dead bodies, and they very, perfectly clear can tell you how many male organs there are, how many female organs there are, what is the difference between the male body and the female body. Bone density, hips, with so many things. It's just ridiculous. It's not just hormones. That is what it is, a matter of physical fact, and there's nothing wrong with that. In nature is like this. We have male animals and female animals. And sometimes, yes, we have some animals that not be either. But those animals are from particular kind, they have particular purposes. Most animals are male or female. And that is one of the beauty of nature. There's nothing wrong with one or the other. They're both beautiful, and they both come together to what to do, and well, to recreate, I mean, to continue. I'm just so beside myself, guys, I'm sorry. I'm explaining things for first grade. To continue forward the said species so we can have more and not go extinct. So those are beautiful things of nature. Nothing wrong with that. Again. Okay. If you have enough traits, okay, enough of another, and we go for female. Not enough of either for us to make a snap judgment on a little evidence. Clear physical evidence, clear as day. Biological evidence from the lab, not from the lab, something that you can observe as a normal human being. Even kids, they start to notice what is a boy and what is a girl early on. And boys and girls behave very differently as well when they're growing up. So everyone, even kids, can say, this is a boy and this is a girl. And that's it, that's the end of it. That is it. It's enough, and when they grow up and they feel something else, then we're going to have another conversation. But before that, everyone can recognize what is male and what is female. Everyone. We are literally made to recognize that. So you cannot deny like endless amounts of evolution. Just cannot even begin to say how much. You just can't deny that. And now all of a sudden decide in 2022, in this case, that there are no clear lines, characteristics of male and female. All of a sudden you decided that. All of a sudden. You totally said that you are better and more knowledgeable than all the scientists in all countries in the world. Some of them have Nobel Prizes. Some of them made extreme breakthroughs in science and biological science as well. You want to tell me that that's totally fine? What? So even this is totally beyond Warhammer. I mean, it's obviously here now, it's Warhammer, but they want to do that and to imply all of that logic to everything, and it's lack of logic. It's not logic at all. That's the thing. It's not logic. It defies all logic. It defies all actual evidence. And evidence don't care about feelings. They don't care about feelings. And once again, if you are a person that respects themselves and respect others, you will not be butthurt about something like this. Because you gotta know there's men, there's females, and if you're something else, then okay, practice that with other consenting adults without opposing it to other people, especially in this extremely bigoted, for real bigoted, forceful manner, denying real science, denying real facts. Anyone that absolutely can disprove these things, and then take all of that nonsense and just go here, in this case in Warhammer, and try to forcefully change and make something be injected in where it does not belong. These concepts in general, they just don't belong in Warhammer, and we're going to talk about what they also have been injecting in one of the Orc books and one of the Necron books. This is something that is coming, that I'm going to do in the future. So hold on a sec, just to see where I was at. Well, those people are intersex and they get fixed. What? Do these traits have significance? Of course, some of them. Oh, some of them. Well, if those traits don't have significance, just tell me why we should change Space Marines. Why we should change those guys if those traits don't have significance. Why? It doesn't matter. You cannot tell what is what. You cannot tell what's a man, what's a woman. Why then we have to change something like that if it doesn't freaking matter? Okay. Of course, again, some of them, particularly medically, many of these hundreds of traits can be very important. The big buckets we invented to crudely dump people into, much less important. So these statements is nonsense on the face of it. what are you even talking about? Did you check, like, did you go to like the psychiatrist office? Did you tell the psychiatrist all of those things? Because you're questioning reality now. Established reality, which billions of people have been known. I mean, have been studied, have been knowing it for generations. You're questioning reality now. It's very different. I mean, it is totally different for us to accept certain types of people and how they feel. That is okay if it's, once again, consenting adults and they keep it to themselves, like heterosexual people try to keep it to themselves. Their own personal lives is personal and all of that. Public displays of affection is something that everybody should have some manners put into that and not completely bang each other on the street. Of course not. Not block the sidewalk because you're kissing with someone. That's actually something that happened to me. It was extremely inconsiderate to everybody that was passing by. So whoever is this, this is the doing of a heterosexual couple, but could be anyone. But I'm mad at this couple, so to speak, because I take this as very inconsiderate, lack of manners, and it is posing. It is something like saying, oh my gosh, look at me, I'm the one. I mean, we are the only couple here. There's no one else, no one else indeed. We're just here. And it was in front of a school as well. So it's a narrow sidewalk, and I gotta pass. And it's either the one side or the other side from, the boys' head is here and the girls' head is here. And they're trying to search for the, for the, uh, for the, okay, try to scan their teeth with their tongues in that moment. Fine. Just don't do it on the sidewalk, manners. So all of that, that's like a normal behavior of people that actually have some kind of a manners, that people that care about, the public, the public perception. I mean, some kind of a decency, that keeps some kind of a decency. It's front of a school. You gotta pass. It's very narrow. There are two people there already, and they don't care at all. They're just making out non-stop because I'm trying to like reach them. Let's say I saw them for like 100 meters, and they probably know that people are coming. I don't know, but they don't care. They're just there. So even if they were, I mean, whoever they were, I'm going to react the same in the same manner. You should not do this. So in the same logic, people from whatever orientation or in whatever gender they feel like, we all have to be respectful and keep some kind of a manners and keep it to ourselves. And why I'm not going to write to the creators of, I don't know, L World, that show, it's over now, but let's say I was a crazy Karen and went to write to this show L World and be like, hey people, look now, this is a show about, lesbians. I don't like it because I'm heterosexual and I need to see more heterosexual couples in our world. Do you think that they're not going to look me sideways and say, you are crazy, F? You know what? Get out of here. And that is probably the super polite version that I'm gonna get. Because I'm going to be wrong in this. For sure. It's not my business to go and lecture someone how they have to have a heterosexual couple where that couple is not supposed to be in. Let's say if there's like a very good storyline, maybe if it's integrated well, maybe there are heterosexual couples there. Who knows? But the point is that why why am I going to want this in a show that is not meant for me in the first place? And mind you, maybe I would like the show. I just haven't seen it. So maybe I would like it, but I cannot watch every show on earth. So I'm not exactly the target audience for sure, but also many heterosexual people have seen it, not because of fetish or something, just because, they genuinely want to see it and enjoyed it. So they're not bigots. They don't need to see themselves in anything. They just want to see a piece of art, watch it as it is, appreciate it as it is, not try to change it. Do I go to the Mona Lisa, You know, I'm also an artist. I draw, paint, whatever. I'm not any of the great artists, of course. But the point is, those people that are trying to change the lore in general, the world, they're also not great creators or whatever. Because if they were, they would understand these concepts of integrity, keeping some holiness, so to speak, truthfulness, a genuine, like real, true, good writing to whatever they're creating. And so, gosh, it's just so much. Okay, so they should understand this if they are really people that appreciate quality. So I am just one artist out of millions, probably billions. And why am I going to go and be like, I do not like the Mona Lisa. I like Mona Lisa to be drawn as a superheroine because that is what I like. That is how I try to be in life, you know. I work out and I lift weights and I want like muscles on the Mona Lisa. But Gary, Mona Lisa is, painted a long time ago. And, not a lot of women even knew what lifting weights is, about then. The beauty standard was totally different. You shouldn't be trying to change her. Oh, no, no. I'm gonna change her. I want to change her because I believe this is the best. Gary, sure, maybe it has some merit, maybe it's good, it's healthy, but you're talking about today's times and how you are, and this is Mona Lisa, you know? Don't freaking change piece of art in history that is priceless. It doesn't matter what we think of it. It is what it is. It's amazing achievement. We gotta be respectful of it and don't try to push our own thoughts about other stuff that have nothing to do with it and just try to push it upon it, change it, whatever. So that is a principle that goes for absolutely everything. And now, by the way, the custodies, I heard that they are nerfed on the tabletop. And if this is because they are also women now, this is even worse for women. This is worse. This is so bad. This is the most ironic, stupid thing I have ever seen. Like, what are you doing, Jidawi? That's another topic, but yes. How are you going to nerf the strongest warrior faction after the Primarchs? You're destroying it. I just want to know what Henrikawa has to say, but he can't talk about this, I'm sure. But I'm also sure that he's not happy about this. And women all over the place shouldn't be happy about this that are geeky women that actually care about this, because putting women only to make them literally inferior and nerf the faction because there are women there. If that is not, if that is not a huge scream to the air, saying, "Oh, women are so weak," then I'm not sure what it is. To be able to nerf the strongest warrior faction in 40k besides the Primarchs, I don't know what else you can say about this. Then, oh my gosh, women are so dumb. I mean, so incapable compared to men. And this should be never any any topic of conversation, because we already know, of course, that women are not as strong as men. And even if you can make a woman that's strong as an Astarte, which Fabius Bao did, actually, it's great, it's possible in science fiction, it's possible, it's fine, but he made her. It's something that is a part of his effort. He put thought into it. It is not retcon as far as I know. It is an original character. He made her. That's totally different. You can put all the women in the world in there if they make sense, but you cannot change someone or some faction that has been already men or women to the opposite sex, because it would not make any freaking sense. But creating an original character, you can create women galore. Create, how many women do you like? Like, you can create even a freaking chaos faction of, I don't know, Slaaneshi women demons specifically that are like snakes or something. You can make that. It's gonna look amazing in Total War Warhammer 3. Yeah, that's great. they're gonna be original. Nobody has any freaking issue with women in games, just to say once again, you know. Now, last thing that I wanna read, or I'm just gonna go back a little bit because this narrator is doing a better job than me.
Author, I still take care with what I write, and I still use the real world as a baseline to refer to. I wouldn't write a book where there's no gravity, but instead blavity that does sort of the same thing but is sticky, like a jam, and just write that as if it was sane and not explain the difference. Fiction, especially genre fiction, often deviates from the real world considerably. Author, many of these hundreds of traits can be very important. The big buckets we've invented to crudely dump people into, much less important. So this statement is nonsense on the face of it. But this is fiction. You might be saying, it doesn't matter. And that's fine, I guess. But as an author, I still take care with what I write, and I still use the real world as a baseline to refer to. I wouldn't write a book where there's no gravity, but instead blavity.
Okay, so, yes, but it is fiction. You might be saying it doesn't matter. Excuse me, no. I'm saying that everything matters because it's art. It matters. It freaking matters. If it didn't matter, why people are enticed to buy anything, to participate in anything? I mean, this is a hobby that's extremely engaging. It's a stress relief, and if the lore is compelling and interesting, then it does matter for people. It actually helps their mental health. So you cannot say that fiction doesn't matter, because there's a lot of fiction that people are literally building their lives, their careers on that fiction. So it does matter a ton. So let's focus on another thing. Sticky jam, nonsense, nonsense. So fiction, especially genre fiction, often deviates from the real world considerably, but those deviations are of interest. What? I mean, the point of fictional world is to have escapism and not put yourself into the real world and now real problems. And there are real problems from 2000s, from the 2000s on, 2024, whatever, 21st century, and we are talking about the 41st millennium, which is right up there in the sky. I mean, compared to what we are now. What we are now cannot compare at all to how people are and how people live in a 41st millennium. So stop it. Stop it. Doesn't make any sense. Just stop it. This isn't being called out as deviation from reality. It's being stated like understood truth. Once again, what? It isn't a defense that it's fiction because it's not creating anything. It's just using an untruth without recognition or creativity. What are you talking about? Warhammer, for example, because we're talking about Warhammer, is one of the most creative, some of the most diverse worlds that I ever seen. There's so many creatures in it. There are just so many factions. The Xenos are so interesting. The humans, and from the humans there are different factions that are interesting. Just take anyone as an example, Mechanicum, whoever else. There's one more thing that I think I missed. Okay, let's see.
That does sort of the same thing but is sticky, like a jam, and just write that as if it was sane and not explain the difference. Fiction, especially genre fiction, often deviates from the real world considerably, but those deviations are of interest. This isn't being called out as a deviation from reality. It's being stated like understood truth. It isn't a defense that it's fiction because it's not creating anything. It's just using an untruth without recognition or creativity. Now let's hone in on the other side of this. How we express ourselves, the words we choose matter. How we say something is as important as what we say. If I wanted to express to someone that if they could just get everything tidied up, they could leave early for the day, I wouldn't. Despite on the face of it, the words being acceptable, say work sets you free. And I certainly wouldn't say it in German, because despite each of those words individually being fine, and it communicating something appropriate, stripped of all cultural context, It has cultural context, and I'm not quoting a fucking concentration camp. Using the words printed in the Horus Heresy rulebook, even if the underlying meaning made sense, it doesn't, wouldn't be appropriate because it mimics the language used by bigots to foster hate and division.
What, what are you talking about? You're the one that is doing this. You're the one that wants to divide people. Awesome. So how hypocritical is this? Nobody is dividing anyone, but you are going here to divide people literally with this article and all the wording that you used. You are the one that is doing that. Nobody is going to the trans community and being super hateful about them. If someone is, that is not the mass of people. There's always some person that is going to be still an ass, but they are like this for most things in life, probably not only against a particular group of people. And of course, there are those trans people that even attack Blair White, who is trans, because she's telling the truth and actually protecting real and for real trans people, and actually protecting people that are groomed to, to, damn it, I don't know why I blocked on this, transition, that are literally groomed to do this, and then they realize when they grow up a bit more that that is actually not their identity, and they wonder how the heck they are going to go back to their original gender. And that is human cruelty, and it's criminal. But not very many people are wanting to speak about that. So there are bad people from all places that want to force something. So that's the key word. This is forced, literally forced.
It's a bad misstep, and if it was a single author, I would be displeased and maybe reach out. But ultimately, a person makes mistakes from time to time. But the author of this book isn't one person. Maybe a dozen people would have seen these words before print. Each one might say, well, it's not my job to check for this. To which I'd say, okay, whose job is it? Because it should be someone's. There should be someone who is checking the output of a major publisher to ensure they're not, accidentally or otherwise, parroting the language of bigotry. Games Workshop has a problem with bigots, and I don't mean that in a good way. We all know it.
Yes, it's you. Games Workshop has a problem with you, because for more than 2 years now, I'm sure, because of such articles, they decided to bend the knee, and now we see the fruits of that. So, who the heck are the bigots?
And though many of us do our best to promote communities that are inclusive and diverse and punch fascists in the face as hard as possible, that's much
Great, let's punch you in the face as hard as possible. You're the fascist here. Literally. Yeah.
harder if Games Workshop puts shit like this in their books, like a weapon ready for use by bigots. I've already seen bigots use this passage as a cudgel. They will continue to do so for years to come. This language will haunt this game that I love for years.
You don't love it because you want it changed. If you loved it, you will not want it changed. You'll be perfectly happy as it is. Especially with fundamentals that shouldn't be changed because they're fundamentals. Once again, if GW decide to write a whole army made of trans people from another universe or something, it wouldn't make any sense, but at least they're gonna be original. And you want to change something that's already established, concrete, established faction, that they're guys, and you don't like guys, and you don't like men. So, who's the freaking sexist bigot here?
Of course, this isn't helped by stuff like Games Workshop using this specific page as the product image on their web store. That's a bad look. Don't do that. We need Games Workshop to do better so our communities can be
Congratulations, Games Workshop did worse than ever.
better and, most importantly, safer. We
What is this with the safetiness? What is this? We can all interact with people, play games, just mute the mics, whatever. We talked about this the other day. There's no one being actually physically threatened. And you could be in any other situation in life physically threatened without being engaged in any of one's hobby. So this is absolutely ridiculous, and it's a false like victimhood to pretend that you're a victim or something. Do you know how many times I was stalked in my life, me personally, or how many times I had issues with men, and it was not pleasant at all. It was scary and all those things that you can imagine. But I never hated men for it because those particular men were not good people. And I had equal amounts of very, very bad things happen because of girls as well. Like horrible things. Most people will not even, you know, ever get over it if something like that were to happen to you. So I also don't hate women for that. I don't appreciate this, of course. But women are not all evil, and not all men are evil, and not all people are evil. Those people are like this, and there's a lot more other people that are the opposite of these people, that actually are genuine good people. And those are the people that I found, those are the people that I stuck with, and those are the people that appreciate me and I appreciate them. And that is beautiful. And to be like all men are this or all women are this, then there's nothing else to say than, okay, I'm sorry that you had this and that experience, but have you thought to maybe learn something about uh, how to get out of toxic circles and try to communicate with other people, see how that goes?
Need them to employ sensitivity readers and check their language for issues. We need them to make inclusivity and diversity a core part of their identity and creativity, not just a statement they put up on a website every year or two. It's fucking Pride Month, but I don't feel very proud of Games Workshop today. The problem
Okay, I'm stopping this absolute shit. So, pardon my language, I never curse, but this just had to happen. So, this was on June 29, 2022. And we're going to get a lot of stupid stuff in June, probably, because it's Pride Month. Okay, when are we going to get our heterosexual parade? I ask. I mean, newsflash, we don't need one, and nobody should need one to be proud of who they are, and nobody should make their whole identity being only about their sexuality. I mean, I'm not even thinking about being a girl all the time. Who thinks about their gender all the time? Just being a human, just doing things in the world. You're not thinking about it, you just are. And if you make that your whole identity, what do you have to offer as qualities to other people? Do you have morals, some like genuine attitude towards anything in life? Do you have to virtue single every 5 seconds of your existence? Do you think that that's the best way that you could be? Do you think that you can only identify with your gender or sexual orientation? Those things are private. Private. And of course, like I said, if you're consenting adult, if you can afford it, if you need to transition, really, if you feel the other gender, if you have the means, you can do it. And that's okay. And if yeah, I mean, if you're Blair White, I see her as she. She is she to me, because, well, she looks amazing. A ton of procedures done, but she looks amazing. So there's that. Now, guys, I'm gonna see your comment because I talked so much that my voice got extremely tired. So I'm gonna shut up for a second, as much as is boring. And I'm going to read, of course, read out loud, but just a second to rest a bit. Thank you, dear Clayton, for letting me know. Okay, let's go up. Up, see what I missed. Don't care is here. Hello to you. Yes, biology. Sorry, guys, so tired. Biology is king, and you can't change it. And by the way, I'm going to edit this when YouTube allows me to, when it's done, so I can remove some of the silences and all that, so people can watch it and have like a smoother experience. But of course, live, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes, so I apologize for that. Quinn says, if they feel that the way they get turned into a savior? A servitor! Oh, yes, yes, okay. Is this some kind of a French article or some kind of a mainstream article that can affect? It already did. That's the thing, it already did, because it was 2 years ago, and we see the consequences of what this article did do. Basically, guilted GW to make the changes that we see now. And in Space Marine 2, we have also a transgender, I think, writer. And if that person wants to change something about the manliest man that I ever seen, she will have another thing coming. If it's a she, I'm not sure. Okay. If you are true to the universe, I could imagine the Inquisition would see trans people as Slaanesh worshippers to exterminate, because I can't really see the Inquisition as open-minded. Yeah, don't care. That's a very good point. So, if you're only going to get some particular people in any lore, especially in Warhammer, where there's so much cruelty and stuff like that, like the Inquisition, that just can't decide that they don't like them, and they totally act upon their own character and destroy these people, then the outrage is going to be huge. And the answer to the outrage is going to be, but you wanted this, and now you're complaining that the universe is cruel? It is cruel. It's Warhammer 40K. It's in the far future. In the grim darkness of the far future, there's only war. What the heck did you expect, honestly? Yes, of course, don't care. And to be clear, he says, I don't think trans people deserve extermination. Of course not. But in 40K, I could believe such thoughts exist. Yes, it's the 40K once again. Very, very good point. And I read already the McDougall comment, 30 plus years of them being men. Yes. Steel Striker says, it's also easy to defend the position when the change has already been done, trying to find it before it's been done, and there are multiple arguments against it that destroy it. Yeah, well, they're already men, so there's that. Grumpy Old Badger, hi to you, says 30 years of merchandising and brand building too. Yes, 30 years. And we do know that when GW tried to push female models of, well, women that kind of look like Space Marines, kind of, they just didn't happen. People just didn't buy them. It was different times. And so it was established what we have today. And of course, we have today Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence that deserve more attention anyway. So focus on that, as we said 100 times before, and everything is going to be great for women in Warhammer. McDougall says, I'm a new player. I got into the game due to the Hellsreach movie and Devastation of Bao, along with a couple of other creators like a Border Prince. I learned the game and spent the money into it. Just got one too. And gifted one membership. But yeah, Abby, thank you so much for the membership, by the way. I forgot to say. Just got an Astreus super heavy tank yesterday, second hand. I don't see the whole reason why real life politics has to do anything with the game when there isn't a reason for it. Exactly, there's no reason for it rather than true bigotry here. To have so little opinion of yourself that you want to project everything, to have such a huge ego at the same time, to project yourself everywhere for no reason at all, but to just do it because you think it's just. That's what we are talking about here. If they don't want it, they want others to not have it. Yeah, that as well. If they manage to, or they manage to destroy it, they will move on after. Probably. It says that he said the same thing. When I heard that, I said, look down one's own pants and they see a big difference. You're talking about what I said. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, what is the XX and the XY chromosome? Yeah, what the heck is that? We have studied it in school, in all countries. Yeah. Jason said, it's so gone bananas. Yeah, and I do love my bananas, my custody bananas. I just love them. You know, these people are delusional. Absolutely. And, if this was like what, even 10 years ago, it's going to be diagnosed, and those people are just gonna take some pills, feel better about themselves, and not feel the need to push down anyone's throats any types of ideology. Just go their own way, live their own lives, and that's gonna be it. But no, apparently no. Now we are promoting and supporting literal psychological states that should be treated, basically, because super very very low self-esteem that makes you be aggressive towards others in terms of words and even physically sometimes is not good for anyone. Opposing your opinions and wanting, demanding others to accept it, and call people with all kinds of names and think that that will never backfire. What is that then? And Dark Ninja says XX and XY are the chromosome combinations that make female and male respectively. Yes, of course, but you have to tell that to the woke people, because they have no idea that this ever was not invented, discovered, and people got probably scientists, someone got Nobel Prize for it at some point. You can't use logical arguments in logical people. They don't listen. Yes, they don't listen. They don't want to listen. And they come up with ridiculous statements. Damn, and I liked a lot of Goonhammer's tactics deep dives. Now they've started worrying about these useless topics. Well, the mere fact that the site allowed this to happen 2 years ago, imagine what they would allow now. I haven't even started going around the site. I don't know what I'm gonna discover there, honestly. Grumpy Old Badger says they decided to take a political stance and pick side. Exactly. And congratulations to Grumpy Old Badger for the membership. Now you can post the starties stuff in the chat. Yeah, McDougall, this is very, very chaos. It's pure heresy. Yeah, that is what I'm also trying to say. This is super mega heresy. And just like the Tyranids, they just go as a wave and they destroy everything in their path. And only the most badass, resistant, and resilient, strong Astartes, Custodes, and Astra Militarum, Sisters of Battle, and so on, can actually stand and stop this freaking invasion. And Grumpy Old Badger says, seeing comics, movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, and so man things I love destroyed, and now it's in my Warhammer. So man things, I'm not sure I understand that. Maybe you have a typo there. Not sure. People that try to rewrite the past destroy the future. Exactly. And without men, we don't have kids. And without women, we don't have kids. Oh my gosh, shocking. We just found out about that. Yes. Wow, 1984 talk. Yes. Pot calling the kettle. This is exactly what this POS is saying and doing with this article. Grumpy Old Badger says 40K was how bad can things get, and turn the dial up to 12. Sort of reaction to the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and comic was also influential. A story called Terror Tube set the ground for the Imperium. Oh, with I'm not sure what that is. Something human is the villain versus Nemesis. The Warlock, an alien, is a rebel and freedom fighter. Not really sure what is T-Porquemate. I'm really not sure what that is. Never seen it before. Okay, Okay, let's see. Finishing off. Well, I thought there would be McDonald's too, but only war. Where is my laser burger? Man, man. Seriously, I love my Asteo super heavy tank. It's part of my crusade. Yes, it's more than half of 1,000 points. But do you have a worry about the other guy? Yeah, tank goes brr. Awesome. There has to be something seriously wrong with you to convince yourself any of this is true or makes any logical sense. Yes. And as I've said, guys, before, and when Logan is here, and he also talked about this, that he has actually a few gay friends, and they are not supporting of the parades, they are not supporting of this showing off, not any of this. They hate this because they know that it's only doing damage to the whole community, and they just want to have their personal lives like heterosexual people do and have their boyfriends, and that is it. And that is it. Just live their lives. That is it. I mean, like other people do. What is so, I mean, you want, equal equality, right? It is achieved like years ago. Years ago. We don't need the parades and the drag queens in schools in America and maybe even in the UK now. I don't know. But that is where things are going. And kids do not need to be bothered ever, ever, ever with any grown up stuff. No matter what it is, they just need to be kids to play with toys, to like what? Play whatever. I mean, that is appropriate for kids. Just watch animation and stuff. We grew up perfectly fine with everything that we ever seen. We just did. And we did not grow up to be all the exists at the end things. So now all of these politics just come up as a so violent on top of us. And it's just baffling. And that is it, really, guys. So I have been talking for an hour and 4 minutes. Jesus. Uh, but this is ridiculous. And I still have two more articles that are, in a way, even worse than this. Yeah, I still have that to cover as soon as I can. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. For those that have never seen me before, because I know that there are such guys here, I also coach, actually. I do non-Slaaneshi with huge, like these big words, non-Slaaneshi things at OnlyFans. Yeah, I use it for good. I use it to teach others. Of course, I do have some sexy pictures, but they're just to showcase my physique because I am a fitness and health professional. And I'm trying to explain how hard it is to keep in shape all the freaking time, and at the same time that it's not that hard. So I do very tasteful pictures that are a part of my own art, so to speak, as my own photographer. And they're tastefully done, and there's no explicit things or whatever. I'm sure some people would like that, but I have principles. So everything is aesthetically done, and that's not even the point. The points, yeah, everything is about the videos that I do there, help others with their personal struggles in life, not only about the fitness, the intimate relationships, the friends, even relationships that they have, any problems that you may have in your personal life, or you struggle with weight, or to gain muscle, or whatever. I have years of experience in those things, and I use the site because it's just very good. Uh, Also for that, it just is. I really love an alternative someday because of the bad rap that the site gets, but it's very closed off at least. So yeah, that's one positive. But like, please, someone make site that you can just upload without no limits like YouTube, but make it like private so people can feel okay to go there, you know. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. Everyone, have a great weekend as well. Tomorrow I have a celebration to attend, but if I can be here as well, I mean, again, I would. I would be, guys. Love ya. Sleep well if you have my time. Until next time with me, the 40K Empress, Gary. Bye bye.